Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to our call for tonight. If you can hear me, if you please put the letter Y in the question box and I'll know you can hear me. And we will go ahead and get started. And what we're going to do, I'm kind of halfway between um, finishing up our travels and kind of getting into my home office. So I won't be sharing a lot of slides tonight. And so I'm going to start with your questions or anything that you have. And I will give you some updates on what I have been doing in terms of, building out a new market and a new niche here in my local area, as I said that I would. And then, again, but I'd like to try to focus in on if you have any questions on your end. So if you've been trying to do something with your PLR or something that you've been trying to do, let's say it doesn't necessarily have to do with your PLR, but you have been trying to do it, then just throw it into the question box and I'll be happy to take my own shot at it. Um, we talked a little bit last week about, and again, I'm sorry I can't show my camera right now, or I don't really have a lot of slides, but I do want to kind of share with you just some things about building out your own market and your niche. And again, now remember that there are going to be always two ways to go about this. First is going to be that if you want to build out from the make money online market, and then second, if you don't, right? So I tend to try to divide my thoughts along that way, along those lines. Okay, so we got two questions here. Um, I see one's from Mike, and which best low-cost server is reliable and fast? So, Mike, do you mean for something like WordPress? Do you mean video, or what kind of server are you looking for? Are you just looking to deliver your products and services to your customer? Um, which kind of server are you looking for? I've got thoughts about video, and I've got thoughts about some other hosting, just depending on what you want. And while you do that, I'm going to answer Jim's question here. It said you told us a few weeks ago why you like Warrior Plus versus JVZoo. I'm just wondering. That's an interesting question, Jim. And what I will say is that when we do the leadership line of PLR, I'm going to be doing that on JVZoo. So we are building out a series of content for on the subject of leadership, and it's kind of going to be based on the work that Laurel and I are doing on in leadership. And so it's going to be about leadership. And what I really hope to do is to use JVZoo for that, because I'd like to keep those two things separate. And I'm going to try JVZoo. I've had some conversation with Laura Castleman, and I don't think that there's anything any different about JVZoo. I think that here's what happened. I think back in 2018, a lot of people ran from JVZoo because a lot of people were getting their accounts banned and they were getting their PayPal accounts taken. And I was one of them, right? And so what happened was I think that there were a couple of vendors that PayPal felt were caused a whatever, right? Who knows what PayPal does? And a lot of those transactions that seem to get people banned, mine included, happened on JVZoo. Because I had been kind of considered to be safe for the longest time, and then I remember the day when I ended up getting an affiliate commission from JVZoo, and this was a time at which uh, your affiliate commissions didn't go to the wallet. And so because what would happen would be that when you got an affiliate commission paid, the transaction would happen, and then that second transaction would go right back out sometimes to another person. And so PayPal and Stripe always looked at those things as being kind of scammy, right? And they felt that as a pyramid scheme. And so at that time, that's when both Warrior Plus and JVZoo, they changed things so that when someone earns a commission, well, the transaction goes direct to a wallet. So when a payment processor sees it, all they see is, some funds kind of going back to JVZoo or Warrior Plus, and then they will redistribute it, into a wallet. And so when that happened, a lot of people ran from JVZoo because Warrior Plus had the wallet in place, and people just never did go back. And so all the PLR creators, as I understand it, pretty much went to Warrior Plus. And I know there are a few that didn't go over there, but there's nothing inherently, I don't think, uh, better per se about Warrior Plus. I use Warrior Plus pretty much out of convenience, and it's mainly because the affiliates trust it. And so because the affiliates trust it, the people that promote PLR, they uh, they tend to trust Warrior Plus. Now, as I said, I'm going to be testing out JVZoo when we do a leadership line. So I'd like to move that brand. I'd like to do that entire brand on JVZoo, and then we'll see, right, if there is, because now the other thing about JVZoo is that if you want to, if you want to launch, and I think as of June, they're going to be starting a pilot program, and I don't think you have to have PayPal or Stripe. And so you're not going to necessarily have to have PayPal or Stripe, and so you're going to be able to use you're going to be able to use a different merchant of record. So I've kind of talked to Laura Castleman about this, and yeah, she says that what they're going to do is they're kind of preparing themselves to be the um, uh, merchant of record, and so we'll see how that works. Let's see, Jim. Okay, best. Let's see. Let me see what your question is here, Mike. Let's see. Okay, so Mike, you're looking for a host to deliver your products, your videos, and your files. I think that when it comes to video, if you're not going to do Amazon S3, and Amazon S3 is fine as long as you have a good interface. And the thing about Amazon S3 is it requires that you have some kind of interface for the customer. So if you were to deliver video or stream video from Amazon S3, your customer can't necessarily see based on, you got to have a player. So in other words, you still have to add on a player, and typically that's going to come in the form of a platform. So Amazon S3 tends to be best for delivering files, tends to be best for storing files, in particular because it's pretty cheap. You only pay based on the amount that you have stored up there. When you're delivering files, you're only paying for the files you deliver. Now, if you have a launch and you have some big um, amount of downloads, then what's going to happen is your account's going to spike and you're going to see a big amount kind of being charged your account. But you won't care if you're delivering a lot of files based on the launch, because you'll be making money. So it's just kind of the I'd say just the cost of doing business if you were to go to Amazon S3. Now, the only way to go around Amazon S3 is to use is to deliver files with a host that does not charge you for bandwidth. Now, I will tell you from experience that if you decide to use something like Microsoft OneDrive, if you decide to use something like Dropbox, when they feel like you have excessive downloads, they will throttle your account. And I've had that to happen in the middle of a launch. And so, you have too many downloads too fast, or you go over their maximum, and I think their maximum is 20 gigabytes, then they will then just shut the whole thing down for 2 days. And so that can be inconvenient if you have a big launch. And that's typically why some people will go with Amazon S3, because there are no limits. And the only thing about Amazon S3 is that you're going to pay based on the activity. So you could have a spike in the amount that you're paying. So in terms of video host, I'm going to say that if you don't have a lot of stuff, Vimeo, right? I think you pay them up front. I think it's going to be $240. You might have to go up in price depending on how much video you're going to be serving. There are some other ones, but I tend to like to go with the big players because I don't want to see anything go sideways. There is another company called Searchy. They're pricey, right? But it's still it's a premium experience for your customers. So Searchy is another video host that you can use. Now there's some other smaller ones, but I would say of the two that I recommend to deliver video, I'm going to say Vimeo and Searchy. Now, one of the ways you can work around any of this is to use a course platform. So if you wanted to use a course platform like Teachable, you want to use a course which is what we use. You could use a course platform like Thinkific, Learn Worlds, or any of them. Now, what I will say also, though, is that, if you're an Ultimate Insider, we do give you access to a platform where you can deliver your files without any bandwidth charges, right? So I'd be remiss if I didn't stick that in there. That's part of that's kind of part of the monthly. It's part of the deal. And let's see. Mike's asking best payment processing, Stripe, Zelle, Square, Venmo. I have not had any problems, knock on wood, with Stripe. So I had issues with PayPal. I have not, I've gone back to do them once again, and so they didn't like that. So I don't think I'm ever going back to PayPal. So right now I do have I do have my own merchant account, right? It's a little pricey to have, but I have it. And now when it comes to Zelle, Square, and Venmo, I have to say I'm not a big fan of Venmo as a user, and I'm definitely not a big fan of Zelle, mainly because, man, I don't want anybody's fingers that close to my bank account. I just don't. That Zelle really makes me nervous. It's probably fine. A lot of people use it. I'm just a little paranoid about Zelle. Square and Venmo is PayPal. So there's that. So I tend to stay away from Venmo. Haven't opened an account, probably won't open one. Square, I think with Square, I don't know if you can, I don't know how it works to take payments on your website. So I can't speak to Square. I would say that I use Stripe. If you use something like a course platform like Thinkific or Teachable, they're going to connect you to Stripe. So they're going to give you a special kind of Stripe account in order to use. Now, Teachable, if you pay them a little more, what they will do is they will open up what they call their back office, where you can take a PayPal payment. So I can technically take a PayPal payment, but it's through my Harper Academy account. So sometimes if somebody misses, let's say they missed the launch, they will write me and they will say, well, hey, you know what, the launch is over. Do you have a PayPal option? And I will send them to a link over in Harper Academy. Now, I don't have any sales pages or anything like that set up over there, but I can send people to that place in order to process a payment. And then in that way, I can still take PayPal. I'm not technically taking PayPal. It's technically teachable through Stripe. So there's that. So in terms of payment processor, I think if you can use PayPal, you just have to be really careful. I know a lot of people, they don't give warning when they shut accounts down, and they don't necessarily even like internet marketing. So, so all of those things, right, would just kind of lend me to eventually, I think you want your own merchant account. And I think that if you don't want to do your own merchant account, you can start out with Stripe and just really be really careful about the kinds of things that you do on a sales page. Make sure you have all your disclosures, make sure you have all of your stuff, like your policy, privacy policy, all of that stuff. Just make sure you have all that stuff. If you're going to use something like Stripe, you don't want to get shut down because of that. Okay, let me see what else I have here in terms of questions. Yeah, so Mike says he likes JVZoo, or Warrior Plus over JVZoo. It's more reliable. I think, and Digistore, I think 24 is very good. Don't care for ClickBank. Yeah, I'm probably going to do something on ClickBank, but trying to get approved is challenging, right? So I contacted them. It doesn't work the way it used to. I ended up getting account rep. The account rep hasn't gotten back to me for a long time. I don't know if I'm supposed to get back to them. So I don't know about ClickBank. I'm trying to get on there, but just haven't been able to. But Warrior Plus is very simple, and the wallet system means that affiliates trust it. And so if the affiliates trust it, that means they're going to promote for you, right? So you don't want to have any barriers between you and affiliates promoting for you. And Warrior Plus is being trusted. I think they'll trust. I think people will trust JVZoo, but I'm going to definitely try it with the leadership PLR line that I do. Yeah, and then yeah. So Jim says that Jim Landers has used JVZoo to great success. Right? And I know Jim has launched PLR over there. I think every once a year he does AWeber. I think round about June, right? Probably when he gets out of, probably when he kind of gets into launch mode. I know he does that. Tends to do that in June, I think, right? And so I'm guessing he'll do his AWeber crash course again. And he's always done that on JVZoo, right? I see Jim Landers here. Jim, are you doing AWeber this year? You doing AWeber? That would be like 4.0 this year, right? So he does that once a year, and has always done that, right? On JVZoo, and JVZoo has been fine. Um, let's see. Mike says MediaFire is glitchy. Yeah, but it's good enough, right? I mean, in terms of delivering, like if I had to, when I have to deliver. So let's say that I went and I got a bunch of stuff from resale rights, right? Other people's stuff, and I don't know if whether or not it's got viruses in it. I don't put that stuff. Like if I went and I got a bunch of resale rights stuff, and I was going to use that as and one reason I don't do that anymore, just pile up a bunch of stuff with resale rights and give it to people. First of all, I don't know where that stuff has been, and then if I give people a big pile of stuff that I didn't create, what happens is it always happens. People will get this and download this stuff, they can't unzip it, something's missing, and then they contact me, and yeah, I gave it as a bonus, but then I got to track down somebody else to ask them about their product. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm not doing that anymore. um, and that doesn't happen all the time, but it's just kind of like, I'm just not in control of that process, and I don't like giving people stuff that I can't really verify it. And so, and so anyway, when I would get this big pile of resale rights, if I were to get that stuff, I would put it in MediaFire in a minute, because MediaFire is reliable enough. So that's where I would put something. And I do have a MediaFire account. So some of my links might come from MediaFire. And typically it's when I've got a big pile of resale rights stuff, and I don't really care about the download and about bandwidth or anything like that. Um, so Mike says that Google Drive is not good all the time. I've never used Drive to deliver files, and I don't think I would. I just I've never had the occasion to use it. I did use Microsoft OneDrive at one time until they throttled my account. And so that's one of the reasons why I've never looked at Google, because I just assume they're going to do the same thing. And but I mean, if you can use Google Drive to great effect, and your customers like it, they know how to get it, I think that it can be worth it. Let me see. Let me kind of go down here in terms of questions. Yeah, so Mike's saying you just want fast downloads for files. I don't think you can get any faster than Amazon S3, quite frankly. So, and I think, like I said, it's just kind of based on um, bandwidth, what you're going to pay, and how much storage you're using. So some kind of calculation that they do, but it's not a lot of. It tends not to be a lot of money unless you have a lot of people hitting that file. So what you do want to do is, if you're going to use Amazon S3, is make sure that your drive name, or your URL is going to be encrypted, so that people can't go and guess at it, and they can go hit that link and start looking for other stuff in your folders. But then also, you know where you can kind of keep control over it, because again, the more times people hit it, and keep downloading the same thing, then you're going to be into more bandwidth charges. And let's see. So Mike says I have a pirate server. Yeah, uh, that works too. So let's see. Um, okay, so Santu says, what's the best course platform for a WordPress website? Um, okay, so I have used uh okay, so I would almost say wishlist member plus something like optimized press. So, I know a lot of people use a lot, but the most reliable two things I've ever used have been wishlist member as the member course platform, and you can typically use Zapier if it doesn't if let's say it doesn't connect to all your stuff. You can typically use Zapier to connect optimized press with just about anything. And I would also then use optimized press along with optimized press and wishlist member. So those two things together, optimized press and wishlist member is what I would recommend for WordPress, right? So a combination. If you have some kind of page builder, you can use that page builder. If that's the case, then I would just use wishlist member. But if you don't have either one and you got to design what your member area is going to look like, and you also have to deliver people to the product on WordPress, and you have to communicate with people from an email from your WordPress site. I'm going to say all those three things you can do with wishlist member pretty much successfully, right? Right. So let's see. So Jim says Stripe is rock solid. Yep. So far it has been. Again, knock on wood. And so Santu says this would be for uploading videos. Okay, so in terms of uploading videos to stream or upload videos to for your customer to download, right? Which are you talking about? When I see your answer, I will answer that question. So my question to you, Santu, would be um, when you're talking about uploading videos, what do you mean? Do you mean that you want to upload videos in a zip file for your customers to download, or do you want to upload videos in order for your customer to stream them? And again, I'm going to say that we in our insider platform, we do have a platform which you can have access to do that, right? So I'm going to again, I'd be remiss in saying that. Okay, so yeah, okay, good, Mike. Okay, so it looks like I answered your question. Um, yeah, so Jim, Venmo and PayPal are related, right? I'm pretty sure. You can Google it, or I guess these days you can put it in Chat GPT, right? But yeah, they're related. And yeah, so Dana said that Square's just now adding website links without a website. So that's going to be cool. So you will have an alternative, with Square. So we'll see how that goes, right? That would be interesting. I'm pretty sure the fees are going to be pretty high, but it'll be an alternative, right? Uh, so yeah, so Jim Jim says ClickBank is annoying. I'm not gonna go in public. I'm not gonna go on record as saying they're annoying yet because I haven't gotten approved. So we'll see what happens, Jim. Uh, um, yeah, JV Zoom Warrior Plus are drama free. And so yeah, they just kind of keep things running, right? They keep the trains running, right? Keep the trains running on time. And yeah, the reliability and customer service is good on both those platforms. Yeah, I really I can't I wish I could sound like I knew Laura like she was my best friend, but I guess that's the point, right? She's not my best friend. I don't necessarily know her personally. From whatever reason, I'm Facebook friends with her, but that probably goes back about 8 or 9 years when we launched software. But I will say this, whenever I've had an issue, she's taken care of it. So for whatever it's worth, Laura Cassim has been responsive, and Mike Lance and Shane, Nathan, they've been responsive also for Warrior Plus. And because I mean, what they're doing is they're providing a service, and there are a lot of vendors, right? So I realized that, you know, if you talk to them about an issue, you kind of feel like, well, why didn't they get back to me immediately? Well, you know, um, uh, they've got a lot of vendors, a lot of them. So, and what they're doing is pretty complex. So I wouldn't, you know, if you're listening and you know you kind of feel like, "Oh, I talked to them, you know, a day or two ago and nobody got back." Well, um, that's to be expected, and they're dealing with compliance. They're dealing with payment processors. They're trying to keep all those people happy, because by keeping all those people happy, the platform continues to run, the one that we rely on. And so I don't, you know, I don't mess with Mike and Jim. I don't think that they don't care one way or the other if I did, but I don't mess with them because for what they do and what they're doing, they're providing a great service, and they've done it for years. And as Jim just said, they're drama free, right? Um, yeah, okay. Santu says, who does Aweber in June? Jim Landers, right? Jim Landers every does Aweber once a year, and he's going to do it again July 19th. So just so you'll be aware of that. And let's see. Yeah, so he's going to do his 4.0. Um, well, Santu, he does Aweber PLR. So he calls it Aweber Crash Course. I'm pretty sure you could probably still get Aweber 3.0 Crash Course. So if you went and Googled Aweber uh, uh, Aweber 3.0, and I think that I still have an active link. So if you went to, um, I think it's the plrshow.com/Jim L, right? I think you can probably get Aweber 3.0, I think. Um, and let's see, is it okay for big files? Yeah, no, it's okay for big files, Mediafire, and as well as Amazon S3. Um, Yeah, well, Santu, I think Jim does do a notify, but if you're on our list, whenever he releases that, I'm gonna have um I don't mind saying this, right? I think I could say this safely. I will have the best and most relevant bonus. So whenever he does that, you want to be watching, we'll be watching for when we release our own bonus on that. It will be the most relevant. You know, I can almost guarantee that. So, uh, okay. Um, yeah, so Google Drive doesn't really have big virus issues, right? So, um, and yeah, you just need to make sure they're clean. But you're gonna have to kind of do that when you upload it, right? So some of that, yeah, for example, if you were to upload a file to Dropbox, and and it and it had viruses in it, they're not going to let you upload it. So for the most part, these big companies like Dropbox, uh, Google, they're not going to let they're going to 86 your file if it's got viruses. And Santu is asking, what is Mediafire? I've not heard of it before. Yeah, if you could just go to mediafire.com, Santu, or if you go to your favorite search engine and type in Mediafire and just look for host. Yeah, so it's pretty cheap. And a lot of internet marketers use it for their big files. And like I said, if I had a big pile of resale rights stuff, and it was a big, like 300, 400, 500 gig, and I don't want to put that stuff over in Harper Academy or Teachable, I would do it in Mediafire. Right? But recently I haven't really done big piles of resale rights, but yeah, and no, Santu, it's not the equivalent of Warrior Plus. it would be the equivalent of Dropbox, right? So it's the equivalent of Dropbox, Mediafire. And let me see. Let me see if I can get to the next question here. Okay, and so Jim is saying is OneDrive and Google Drive primarily for um, personal use. As of right now, it is. That's the way I use it. I've stopped using it to deliver it to customers because anything over a certain limit on a certain day, they'll shut down the entire account. And so you want to avoid that. And I've done that before. I've done that in the middle of a launch where, I said, hey, I tried to download these files and I can't get them. And then you said, well, no, I know they're there. And then I'd go and try to download them and I couldn't download them. And that was because they throttled my account. And when Dropbox throttles your account, they don't send you an email. So they don't send you an email saying, hey, you know what, you got excessive downloads. They just throttle first. So you don't even want to you don't even want to run into that. So sometimes you're going to have to pay a little extra for that. And if you think you're going to have a big launch where a lot of people are going to be hitting that link, I'm going to say don't use anything that's going to make people mad because they can't get it. And then you got to scramble in the middle of a launch. You got to put stuff in a new place, and you then got to change out all your links. Don't just avoid all that. Pay a little bit more money, and then when you do your big launch, make sure those links are going to be in place the right way. Yeah, and Gail is saying that she does wish list and optimize press 3. Yeah, it's easy enough when it comes to WordPress. And I think Gail pretty much knows WordPress. Probably does more WordPress than I do. I think I do WordPress now kind of by default, but I think Gail works with WordPress every day. So Mike's question is, what's the best way to keep sites secure? I know that when I use WordPress, and I know that there are probably WordPress gurus more so than I don't really do anything more than WordFence. So in terms of my WordPress sites, I do WordFence. Uh, and then now my host has a lot of tools. And on all the tools that my host has, I turn them all on. So I don't even know what all the tools are. I know I paid something like, I don't know, $40 a month over for something that keeps it secure. That I started paying once I got really hacked. And so, um, so I don't. I will try to look that up when I'm paying the $45 for it. So I don't really know. I know that I started paying it when I got hacked, and I've been paying for it ever since. So the combination of whatever that $45 is and WordFence is what I use. So I think if you have a WordPress site, um, and I don't suggest that you pay for WordFence Premium, but I do suggest that because WordFence is free, that you go ahead and set that up at minimum, right? So you can set that up tonight, and I think WordFence is free. If you just go to your plugin area and then just add on WordFence, you're going to have to set it up. But be careful when you set it up, especially if you're going to do something like um, IP address blocking, because if you go to, let's say, if you go um, out of town and you try to log into your own website, you're not going to be able to log into it because your WordFence will block it because the IP address that you normally use or the IP address which is yours that you may have whitelisted is not going to recognize the one that you're at and it will block you. So I would just say, with WordFence, just make sure you take all the precautions. Let's see. And let's see. So Gail says she uses something called Course Cure along with Wishlist Member. It's something that you have to upgrade to, right? So maybe that's something that you can look into if you want to do courses on WordPress. Okay, yeah. So Gail says that Course Cure is the Wishlist Member LMS. right? So I remember when they were offering that. I guess I chose not to do that because I was already kind of moved on to um, Teachable, which is not it's not a perfect solution. It's just good enough for me. It kind of works for me. But yeah, so if you're going to do WordPress, then I would definitely suggest OP3 and Wishlist Member. And then Gail is saying that they've got something called Course Cure, which is an upgrade. You're going to have to pay a little bit more, and then that will kind of allow you to deliver courses. And Santu's question: can you host your pre-recorded videos for customers to watch on Amazon S3? Yes. And do they charge per download? Not necessarily. What they do is they charge you bandwidth, and you get charged at the end of the month. So yes and no. So you don't have to. You're not gonna. It's not gonna be like you can count the number of downloads and you can count what your payment's gonna be. It's kind of like they just kind of look at your usage at the end of the month and look at how much storage you have, and they charge you something. And it's not a lot of money, right? It tends not to be a lot of money. Um, so yeah, so it really depends on how much bandwidth you're using. Now that's really why people use companies like Vimeo. People use companies like Vimeo because there are no bandwidth charges per se. Uh, they've changed their pricing, so you have to kind of be careful. I know as of right now, Searchy doesn't have bandwidth charges, but they've got a really spicy fee. So there's that. And so Gail says, yep, that Venmo and PayPal are related. Jim is asking what website. So just like you can, Jim, when I think when Dana is saying is that just like you can use Stripe on your website through an interface, you'll be able to use Square in the same way. So and so I think you'll and so that's coming apparently. Um, Let me see. And so Marina says she's been looking at something called storage.io, right? I've not heard of that one. And they've got good pricing, apparently her, lower cost than Amazon S3 for what it's worth. So maybe that's gonna be something that you can check out. And let's see. Mike is asking for private. Yeah, Mike, do me a favor and just hit me in support, right? And just let me know what you're looking to do. So I think I'll write in my support address, and it's the same one that for everybody else. So in case you don't have my support address, I see support at gainmindshare.zendesk.com, and I will send that. I will also put the URL in. So how do I send this? So I'll send that to everybody, and then I'll also send, in terms of the coaching that I do, it's through our Ultimate Insider program, and it's from the plrshow.com/insiders. And I used to do one-on-one coaching, but I no longer do that. For the most part, most of the people that really tend to only have a question every so often. So, I've just kind of bundled all of my coaching into my Ultimate Insider program, and so I'm available to them at any time. So yeah. So in terms of coaching, you can always get me in Ultimate Insiders, and then for support, you've got my support address there in the question box. Okay, so. Let's see. What about a member for your website, for your membership? A member's fine too. Now, I don't use a member. I have a member. I paid for a member. Um, an occupational hazard of creating technical PLRs that you pay for a lot of stuff that sometimes you don't use. So I've paid for a member in the past. I've not renewed it. It's fine for a membership site. You do need to know what you're doing, And you need to be handy with HTML. You need to be willing to pay somebody to do some stuff. So I would say that if you don't want to pay somebody and you don't like doing HTML, that may not be the thing for you. And one of the reasons why people use WordPress is because they don't want to fool around with the HTML. But if you're good with HTML, then or if you want to just pay somebody to do HTML, then a member can be your guy, right? But otherwise, a member requires some technical know-how. It requires you cannot be reluctant about HTML. You have to be willing to work through situations or get somebody to work through them. So that's what I would say about a member there, Santu. And let me see. Oh yeah. Jim's saying that Laurel Castleman is very sharp. Laurel Castleman is no joke. Definitely very sharp woman. Um, yeah. So Steven's question is, ClickBank charges. Yeah, no, well, you want people charging sales tax, and the reason that you want to do that is because, I mean, if you don't want to have to collect that stuff. So if they're charging it, that means you don't have to do it. And so my opinion of that is that's a good thing. Now, I think Stephen, you're in the UK, so that could be tricky, right? Because you're not necessarily under our laws, but in general, when you make sales, you want them to collect the sales tax and then to send it to the sales tax entity. And so if you don't want to fool around with that, that's a good thing. And let's see, Mike is asking who is the best to affiliate with. Um, in terms of finding affiliates, you just got to find the person that wants to sell your product, right? And then what I would say about that is that you don't let anybody. You don't. You need to guard your affiliate link. And so I'm very guarded about mine, right? And I have a different perspective on that than a lot of other people. I know a lot of people kind of feel like, well, if this person looks like they're trying and all this other stuff, I don't approve anyone that really doesn't have the ability to communicate to people about what PLR is like. And if I don't know them, I generally want to get on their list first. And that irritates some people. And some people walk away because it's like, well, man, I don't want to go through all this just to promote a product. I'll find somebody else, which is fine, right? Because uh, if I control the affiliates that are bringing traffic to me, then I don't get anybody I don't get people who think they're going to buy a PLR product and get rich tomorrow. I don't I and so that one change has meant the world to me because the customers that I get tend to be people that if I showed up in their city, right, I'd probably eat lunch with them. I just tend to like them because we took out all the get rich quick out of our copy, right? So they're not people who come in there thinking again they're going to get rich tomorrow with a PLR product. And then they tend not to be the kind of person that is just the wrong kind of customer. And so one of the ways I control that is I don't let everybody promote. And so if you just let anybody who has the right numbers promote for you, then I guarantee you're going to get people that they're just going to be the wrong people. That's all I can tell you. I know our business. I've been doing this a long time, and I'll tell you, um, uh, if you get buying customers, all buying customers are not created equal. So just put it out like that. They're not all created equal, and some that you get, if you get the wrong ones, will give you nothing but grief. So, I tend to whether or not the person becomes an ultimate insider, I'd say 98% of the people that end up being our customer, I tend to like them, right? It just happens that way. And that's I think a lot of it has to do with finding the right affiliates and then saying no to most. right? If you could look at my affiliate screen right now, you'd see that a lot of people will apply, and I don't even look at it. And the reason I don't look at it is because generally the affiliates that promote for me, I already know them. I know what their list is, and until I can get to know somebody's list, I just don't say no. So I would say with people that represent your product the right way. And I know what that sounds like. It's easy for me to say that because I've been doing this a long time, but it's also the right thing to tell you because even if you start out, I was telling my wife today that one of the things my old pastor used to say to me is that if it starts out the right, what starts out the right way will end the right way. So if you start out the right way with the right kind of customer, you'll end up growing your business with the right kind of customer. And I am very happy with the kind of customers that we have been getting since 2020. Like very happy. Like generally, like even the people who get sideways with me, they tend to be nice people. And so just like I'm on this call with you right now, right? Um, I haven't met all of you personally, but the people that I end up talking to in support, they tend to be just a different caliber person than most of the people who hang out buying information products. And so that's who you want to do business with, people that you generally like. Okay. Um, let me see. Can a person sell their own ebook on Warrior Plus, or is it just for PLR and affiliate marketing? No, you can sell information product. Yeah, you can sell an ebook, right? Now, and again, I mean, it has to be something special to get an affiliate to promote it. But if you have something that's unique, you can sell an ebook. Yeah, you can do that if you want. Um, what to suggest for an autoresponder that's easy to learn and not pricey? Aweber, right? Flat. That's what I use. I use GetResponse for some stuff, but I would say Aweber hands down, right? That's my recommendation. So I've been using Aweber pretty much since 2007, and I know there are people on the call. I know there are people on Facebook. I know there are people who are probably a lot smarter than me when it comes to this stuff, and they say, "Well, I operated on my server." I don't care about that. Um, Aweber's good enough. I don't have to fool around with this thing on my server. I don't have to fool around with it and yeah, Aweber has things that go sideways sometimes. I know that. But here's what I know, that when Google makes some kind of change, they invite everybody to their headquarters, Aweber is going to send somebody out there. When Gmail does something, when Hotmail does something, they're sending representatives to go and try to figure out what the heck's going on. And that's what you use. Now, if you start doing all this stuff where you're putting these things on your server and you got to manage it, unless you want to also be in the autoresponder business, I, okay, that's my that's my opinion. Get Aweber, right? Um, Yeah, so let's see. Jim is saying that if you bought Crash Course 3.0, you get upgraded to 4.0. All right, Jim's a generous dude, right? So if you already bought it, so if you don't, I will I will put a link in the in Extreme community. I'll dig up the link for that and put it there. But otherwise, you can wait for his 4.0 course coming out on July 8th, July 19th. And Jim says, yes, the most relevant. Yes, I promise you that. I will have the most relevant bonus uh, of everyone. So that you can count on. Let's see. Um, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Um, And let's see. Doesn't like using Dropbox. You have a private cloud server. Yeah, no, if you got something private, I think as long as you can trust it to deliver to your customers, I think that's cool. Um, and yeah, so Santu, uh, Gail, are you doing Gail, are you doing consulting? I've got somebody asking about about WordPress. So yeah, Gail, if you're still doing consulting and stuff on WordPress, can you just send me an email, send me a support email? And Santu, if you would send me a support email, then I'll connect you to that way. Okay. And let's see. And let's see. So Jim's saying that there's a site called Security. They'll back up your files, right? I know a lot of that stuff I do through my host. But yeah, but if you can find somebody that'll do the backup for you, that's cool too. And Mike says he likes multiple protections. I like that too. And yeah, Jim mentions LearnDash. Yeah, I used to do LearnDash, a combination of LearnDash, Buddy Boss, Wishlist Member, and then I stopped using Optimized Press at that point. So you can do LearnDash, Buddy Boss, and Optimized and Wishlist Member, right? And if you don't want to use Buddy Boss and LearnDash, you could use uh, what is it? Optimized Press. Now, what LearnDash does is LearnDash turns it into a course platform, right? So it's got some things in it that allow you to do interesting things in terms of delivering courses specifically. And let's see. Um, and Mike is saying, can one get Amazon Pay for us providing training videos? I don't know the answer to that. Amazon Pay. Um, yeah, I don't know the answer to that, Mike. I mean, I'd have to try to run that down. That would be interesting, right? I don't know whether or not I mean, Amazon's a big company, and I know they have Amazon Pay, so I don't know if you could use it on your website. I'll try to run it down, right? I'll try to run it down for next time. And okay, so Jim says he recommends Ultimate Insiders, which I agree. No, thanks. Um, and thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And let's see, what methods do you recommend to advertise a course? From Daryl, I recommend that the best advertisement you can get is to get a buyer's list. So you might have to do a product launch among the people that you want to buy your products. Now, that means that you might have to get affiliates to promote for you, but really the best way to do that sometimes can be that you might have to. I know that there are uh, big marketers and they have ways that you can buy your way in, and they will send an email for you for your product launch or an email or two. And because they're selling your product, you will get buyers, and those buyers will end up on your list. And then that's the best way to get traffic when you have a launch and you want to send your list to that offer. So the best thing to do is to build a buyer's list, right? Okay, so Steve is from New Zealand. Okay, yeah, same thing, Steve. So my comments would still be the same. So New Zealand, my comments would still be the same. And so Santu is saying, what's the best software to add to a WordPress site to collect sales tax automatically internationally? I'm thinking it's going to happen through your payment processor. So as long as you're using something like, well, see, okay, I would say, um, hmm, I don't know the answer to that. I will try to run that down. Right. I don't know that because everything's going to depend on your payment processor. And your payment processor is the one that's going to connect to Stripe and to collect the sales tax. And so that's going to be the thing. So um I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I'll try to run that down. Um So Gail's saying that the last time I did wishlist member was 2018. Am I going to redo it? Yes, I am. You know what, Gail? I had plans to do it this year, and then AI blew up everything. But I am going to do it, right? And I've been saying a lot lately about a lot of stuff. I had real big plans before AI happened, but I am going to do it. So yeah, I have the graphics, I have the outline, You know, I did a little, did a little studying up on it. Just haven't, you know, I kind of uh, I guess, reloaded based on AI. But yes, I am going to do it. Um, and Jim is saying that, um, yeah. So Jim says he tells affiliates how to promote him, right? And you can tell by their answer if they have a clue on how to promote them, or if they know about affiliate marketing. Yeah, so you know, one way to do it is to just ask a question and then see how people answer. And if you don't feel like they're going to represent your brand, your business, your product, then just don't approve them. I agree with that. And yeah, so you know, you want to be, and Jim is saying he set some parameters for people in his affiliate notes, and I agree with that. I mean, you set the parameters. Some people are going to apply to promote your product. They're not even going to read what you say. So, for example, Jim says he has a message in there for him. Well, some people don't read it. So, you know, you can eliminate them, right? If they're not going to read it. So let's see. And and Jim says, "Are you happy?" And of course, I'm super happy to have Jim Landers as a customer. So Mike says, "I'm doing good work. I appreciate that. Thank you." And no, thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Yep. A Weber is what I recommend. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so Santu Gale does I think he does some she does some stuff with Wishlist Member and Course Cure, right? So that's her thing. But yeah, so and she's gonna send me some information, Santu, about some good WordPress coaches. So she's gonna pop that to me. Thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. Okay, Gail's good people here. And can you sell an ebook on Warrior Plus without an affiliate promoting it? Yes. Right? So just don't enable affiliates. Yes, you can definitely. And let's see. Um, Physical products, well, digital products are taxable also, Mike. So yeah, physical and digital products are taxable. So yes, so really, you know, if the process can collect them both, that's best. And and yeah, so Jim says some people will not answer the question. Yeah, that's gonna happen. And thank you, Daryl. I hope I'm glad this is helpful for you. And yeah, and so yeah, so yeah, you want to set the parameters. Jim sets his parameters at 10 or 20. So, you know, if an affiliate already has 10 or 20 sales, then for him, right, that's a sign that he might be able to say yes, best if all the other factors are going to be good. So so whatever you do, right? If you set your product up to be promoted, you just got to have some standards, and you want to have those standards up front, and you just want to stick to them, right? Because if you say, well, I want people to have 20 sales, but then somebody writes you a note and says, well, I don't have 20 sales because my pet llama died. Then no, you know that you can't do that, right? If you say the people have 20 sales, that's what Jim is saying, right? So he sets his thing at 10 or 20 sales, whatever you set it at, just be willing to stick by it, even if Oprah comes to you and she doesn't have any sales, right? Well, maybe if Oprah came to you, you might let her promote, uh, but yeah. Well, okay, everybody. Well, okay, it's about 9:59, and I didn't anticipate doing it, but uh, yeah. So Santu is asking, are you saying it's a waste of time to try to promote a launch or product on social media like Facebook or get? Well, if you have a big following, Santu, and they're expecting information products, it can be worth it to do it on social media. But but you need to have people who buy information products. And so one of the best ways to do that is to get someone who you know is already bought, and affiliates can bring and put those people on your list. Affiliates who find a good product to promote, you are basically you basically give them 100% on the front end, right? And you make your money on the back end. But regardless, even if you didn't make a dime, let's say you did a product launch, you didn't make anything. Well, if you make 100 sales and you didn't have 100 people, you're probably going to have a good 80 of those 100 people on your list. And so the most efficient way of building and growing a list is to get a buyer's list. And that's pretty much going to be to get a good person to promote. Now, I don't, um, and it's kind of interesting because, um, Jim Landers is a good example. Uh, you know, I rarely, it's rare when I promote somebody new. And so I promoted Jim because I had to look at his product. I've known Jim for years, and Jim might have even asked me, right? I may not even promoted Aweber Crash Course 1.0. I probably promoted 2.0 and 3.0, right? And I just because I knew Jim better by that time. So yeah, so I you just got to be careful. But yes, okay, yeah, Jim is confirming I didn't promote 1.0. But yeah, Jim, you should do an information product on how you built how you got people to promote, right? And you should probably do an information product about that. But yeah, so basically, Santu, if you have a good product that affiliates want to promote, they will promote you to their list. They will make the sale, and every person that buys that product, you put them on your list through your autoresponder. Then all those people that are on your list will then have, they buy information products. You have a buyer's list, right? You have a buyer's list, and that is what you want. Now, some people they get more people on their list. You can build a bigger list if you get people to opt in by giving them something free based on something that you know. It's just an inefficient way, right? Now, I'm not saying it's a better way. I'm not saying it's a worse way. It's inefficient. Now, here's what I'm saying, what I will say about that. You have to build a relationship with affiliates. You have to build relationships with affiliates so that they will want to promote you. And as I said, I'm looking at Jim Landers on here. I'd known Jim for a long time before I promoted him, and I had a relationship with him. So it wasn't even it wasn't that I liked him or disliked him. I just knew him, and by the time he came up with something and he had a PLR product, it was in my niche. Well, I mean, why would I pass up a revenue opportunity? He made it worth it for me to promote. He brought a product to me personally, right? And a lot of other affiliates with a product in my niche, right? Videos, PLR. And so I would be foolish not to promote. And so that's what you got to do. You have to find affiliates it would be foolish for them not to promote you, right? And so but you have to have a relationship with them. You just can't come roll up on them and just say, "Hey, it's me, you got to kind of know them, or you can get introduced by somebody, right? That's another way. I mean, if you get somebody, I think John Thornhill does something like that. Well, he'll introduce you to all of his affiliates. He's got a lot of them, and that's another way, right? I think Liz does introduction, right? You got to pay, right? Thornhill does something like that. You got to pay, but but it's not a lot. It's not a lot of money. So if you think about it, right? I think Thornhill's like $200 a month, but you're gonna make that back, right? So you pay Thornhill, let's say $200 a month. You get him to promote your product, right? I think you got to kind of go through his program. You kind of you got to go through his entire thing. But once you do that, then, he'll promote you. He'll promote you to his affiliates, and he'll promote you to his list. Right? So yeah, so you can do the lead magnet way, but really it's inefficient. The most efficient way of building a list is going to be a buyer's list, right? So I'm saying it works, but these days your lead magnet has to be so cool to get people to pay attention. You just can't, I mean, gone are the days when you can just give away a special report. Those days are over. So if you just think, well, I'm going to give you a special report, unless you're telling people something that's secret and something that's so cool that they can't learn anyplace else, and they know they can get it from you, and they're super curious, I don't know if the special report works like that anymore. So really, you'd almost be spend your time better by um by building the relationship to get somebody to promote you, right? Yeah, so yeah, no, I believe that, Jim. I believe that just the free report just isn't unless it's a super cool thing. Unless you're telling people, hey, you know what, I know I just used I don't know, let's see, AI is the example. I used AI, and it's a secret method and nobody knows this, and right? So yeah, I would say you got, at minimum, you got to do a little video, right? You got to do a little bit of video. I'm saying as your special, as your lead magnet. So I think if you give away a video, that's what it means. That's what a special report people. Because first of all, um, I can't remember who said it. People don't read anymore like that. So I mean, people just don't read. So um, if they did, then YouTube wouldn't be there. People like to watch videos right now, right? They like to watch shorts, right? So you know, I can't, I don't make the rules. So Santu, Liz Tome, right? I bought my first PLR product from Liz Tome back in 2007. Tome, let's see, how's Liz spell her name? Um, Tom, I think it's Tomey. Tome, yes, yep. Gail corrected me. Tomey, right? Liz Tome. Yeah, she has a course. I think, and that where I think it's probably about $400. You go through her training, and then she will mail for you, right? Now, you need to have, I mean, it's gotta be, but I think you gotta go through her entire course and do what she says, right? At some point maybe I should do that. But that's kind of like not my thing. Teach people how to launch PLR. I know how to launch PLR. I don't know how to teach people how to launch it. So, go figure. Uh, okay, everybody. Well, it's like 10:08, and we have been chatting for what, an hour? Good Lord. It's time for me to take off, and good to see everybody. So, if this works for you all, we'll just do this again, right? I didn't have to prepare anything. So, we just kind of we're trying to do it this way, and we'll just do it this way until we don't. Right. So thanks very much for hanging out, everybody. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.